If you guys didn't know, I'm actually a massive fan of Mini-iTX. My main PC that I also travel with is a Mini-iTX PC. Now all of this Computex up until this point, I haven't really focused on Mini-iTX at all, but this is the last day of the coverage here, and I thought I'd just go around the whole showroom floor and just look at various different brands, and if they're random brands I've never heard of before, we'll just feature them and see what they've got for Mini-iTX solutions. And speaking of which, we've got the first brand up here called Solleron. I've never heard of them before, but apparently they've existed for around 20 years. They've actually got two little cool Mini-iTX designs on display here. The first being the 218, which is a 14-liter capacity case coming in from around about $28 US. So that's extremely inexpensive, but it's also got the ability to support triple slot, very long graphics cards, as well as relatively tall CPU coolers, around 95 millimeters or so, I'm told. And so this means that you can fit in actually quite a big Mini-iTX PC, and if you're on a budget, the case is going to be inexpensive. Now besides that is the 218. This gets even smaller to about a 10-liter capacity, but it's very weird because it's got a triple slot design, but it only fits SFF graphics cards inside. So I'm not sure if there is a triple slot SFF graphics card, but I guess that gives us some leeway into the future of possibilities, and if this could be the future direction for ITX. Anyhow, guys, let's take a tour around this whole venue here today and just check out what other cool Mini-iTX concepts are around.
Computex 2024 is brought to you by Aorus and their new lineup of OLED gaming monitors featuring the Faux 32U2P, which is the first 32-inch OLED monitor to support DisplayPort 2.1, as well as having a refresh rate of 240Hz at 4K. Then there's the Faux 27Q3, a 27-inch 1440p with a whopping refresh rate of 360Hz. All these monitors have incredibly fast response times and variable refresh rate, HDMI 2.1, as well as a built-in keyboard, video, and mouse switch. And the best thing is there's built-in Aorus OLED care to minimize the risk of burn-in. Links in the description below to find out more.
Now we've stumbled on our way to Superflower. Now Superflower have traditionally been an OEM for power supplies, and they make some of the best power supplies in the business. But what we saw here was an ITX design, a concept called the Zillion Insight. Now this is going to be a 10-liter case, all aluminium chassis, except just for this really nice wood trim up the top. And the I/O looks really good. Power button, 2 Type A's, a Type C, and a 4-pole. And then it's also a toolless design on the side panel, so you can open up the whole case. It's magnetic too. And then inside you're greeted with a tray that's adjustable, so if you need to fit more graphics card in, you can do that if you've got a really fat graphics card, up to 320mm long. And then also if you've got, say, on the other side, if you've got a smaller graphics card and you want to fit in a big cooler, you can fit up to a 74mm air cooler too, and that'll fit in. Now, support for power supplies is SFX or SFXL. And speaking of an SFX power supply, they've got here the Zillion SFX 1000 watt Platinum coming to the market, and that's coming in Q4 2024, just like this case, hopefully. And so they don't have actual pricing as of yet, but looks pretty promising. Now I think I've stumbled into, so far, my favorite ITX booth for Computex so far. This is called Geeek, so it's got an extra E in it, and they've got a new model they've apparently just shipped the first batch, but this is the M31 as well as the M21. Now the differences here is that they're the same 6.7 liter size, and they both weigh 2 kilograms, except one can fit in a larger GPU up to 210mm, but standard size, and then the other, you've got the option here to install a water cooler up the top, a 120mm, but then at the back, sacrifice a bit of width on your GPU and install an SFF GPU, up to 210mm as well. Now they take the Flex ATX power supplies, these are the smallest you can generally get, and it's 6.7 liters. This is really hitting hard with me personally, because I'm looking to downsize from that 9.7 liters that I've got currently, and if we can get something into this, then I think we're crack-a-lacking right here. So this one, in terms of pricing, once they get the first batch out, they'll update the pricing as well, because they're still tinkering with it and getting the final designs. But one cool thing about it is they're also going to have the option for a metallic handle hardwired into the backplate. So even if you get, say, the M31 and you want to change it up to the M21 and vice versa, you can get this extra plate, and it'll cost a little bit more, but it'll give you options. Now for some other ITX cases that are actually not really slated for release yet, but more of concept design. We've got here the F10 starting off. This is where more of a cube ITX solution, 10-point-liter volume, and also a 1.6 kilogram weight. But then you can see here at the top, we've got just the CPU front end components compartmentalized. And then that goes down to the bottom of the case, which is kind of a little bit hard to focus, but you got the power supply and then your GPU in there as well. So you can then fit your bigger components down the bottom as well as a full-size ATX. Not really the best optimization of space in my opinion for ITX, but then beside that we've got the A71, 12.4 liters with a little bit of a heavier weight there, but this one does look really nice. And so when we look inside, you've got the ability there to mount an SFX power supply and then your main board and then a massive GPU vertically. For the final first floor, so we're going to go up to the 4th floor very soon, we've found here the sister company of Lian Li, SUPD. And now they've got the Mushroom D and also the Mushroom S. Now this is a 14.9 liter Mini-iTX case, but the difference here is that there's no compromises. You can fit a GPU up to 340 mil long, or in the case of standing it up, 350 mil long, extending it. And then for the CPU cooler, you can either fit a 280 mil AIO, or you can fit a 140 millimeter tall air cooler, and an ATX power supply too. So this would be the biggest I would sort of, for me as a Mini-iTX enthusiast, would go with, but at least it's got the no compromise option. So this is the first place that we've seen upstairs here, and this is the OCPC Mini. That's all it is, and essentially it's just a aluminium frame with an open ITX PC design, fitting an SFX power supply on the back, room for SSD, and then your graphics card, I guess you can really mount anything you want if you want it coming over the side. So really nice design here. It's coming in currently on Amazon, I think, for like $70, but they were telling me the wholesale distribution price is around $30 USD, and they've just released a heap of different colors. So I'm thinking my benchmark test system may just end up going Mini-iTX with all the new Z like 790s and stuff that get better benefits from overclocking the DDR5 memory. So now we're at a place called Tryx, and I've never heard of this brand before, and I especially never seen this concept case right here, which is called the Spes. And essentially they got two different designs here. One is the extended version. At the moment it's 24 liters, and it can fit up to a GPU that's 4 slots and 400 millimeters long, and a 360 mil water cooler as well. Now the special thing you'll notice about this is there is a screen on the side of the case, which is also translucent, but you can also make it just a full screen to watch movies on or do work on, which would be pretty cool if you're just looking at maybe a domestic sort of traveling ITX case, something you can take to your mate's house or whatnot. I don't really see myself traveling with this in a suitcase as it's a little bit big, but they're aiming to get this whole thing out for around $200 to $300, and it's made of a full aluminium chassis, so it does feel really high quality, plus the handles, which can double down to stand up the case itself. Now, they are talking about trying to get the size down, in this case from the extended version, 24 down to 22, and then in the case of the normal one right here, 20 liters down to 18 liters. So now we've wound up at a place called EWIN, and we asked them if they had any flex power supplies, and it's 230 watts. Like a little bit of a yikes moment here. Here we are now, we've wound up at Zalman, and they've got a Mini-iTX case on display. It's called the M2 Mini Grey. Now, apparently they do not stock this in the US, it's only really Asia, but it's coming in two different colors here, a gunmetal gray as well as a silver, and you've got acrylic side panels, which it looks like it's using the Dan A4 chassis, just they've sort of extended it a bit on the side here with the bolts. So now we've wound up at a stall called Almodor. Never heard of them, but this is probably one of the coolest cases I've seen. Even though it's micro ATX and we said we were focusing on Mini-iTX, it's just got a handle pre-attached, and it's got a steel chassis as well as having the ATX power supply mount in a unique position. So it's really cool to see something like that coming in at $76 US, and it's available now. And here we are now at a company called CBE. Never heard of the brand before, but I've definitely heard of PC Cooler because that's the brand that I got my current ITX PC off from AliExpress. Now they've got something coming out next month for around about $110, but this is very different. It's 11.9 liters, comes with a really good sturdy handle. You've also got 4 slim 120mm fans installed. And so that makes a big world of a difference on Mini-iTX, but also in this model in particular, you can mount a 120mm radiator down the bottom, as well as support for up to 67mm of air cooling. And you've got a GPU support here for triple slot all the way up to 34 or 340mm, 34 centimeters. And it comes in currently this dark gray as well as white. And you've got a different design on the front for the perforated ventilation. So now we've stumbled onto the Thermaltake booth here, and they've got an interesting ITX concept coming out later this year in Q4, they tell us. The price is still undetermined, but it's going to be around about 14.6 liters, and you're going to be able to fit up to a 360mm graphics card, triple slot, and then you're going to also on the top be able to fit a 280mm rad. So that's quite big. And then SFX power supply, or SFX-L, you're good to go. But one of the best things about this case, on the front there's also an LCD screen too. So you can have it display your GPU temps, CPU temps, and stuff like that. But also I think the color scheme, because it's a toolless design, they may even have some different color combinations so you can switch between, so you can make it to the style you like. So we've wound up at the Gigabyte suite now, and the good thing is here is that they sponsored our trip for Computex 2024, but they've also got some really special ITX gear on display here. The first of which is their brand new upcoming Z890 motherboard, and this is an ITX version they've got on display. Now, it's got a quick latch for easy GPU removal on the side here, as well as having on the back a quick release Wi-Fi adapter. And in terms of what it can support in DDR5 memory speeds, it's still under NDA, so they can't disclose that. But it's good to see that ITX board ready to rock and roll, as well as on the GPU side. I thought we were just about done, but then they've got this AI Top Edition RTX 4070 Ti, coming in at 26 centimeters long, and a simple dual slot solution with a reference blower. You undervolt this in a Mini-iTX rig, you're going to have low temperatures and a small design too, and it's got the standard input outputs as well as having the 12-volt connector at the rear. So forget the AI, and let's utilize this for some hard gaming. Now in terms of the whole build, it's actually got a really nice metal chassis on it too. There's also some other Z890 models on display here, but I just thought the ITX stuff was really cool. Now also one last thing about that 4070 Ti, you're probably thinking, I want the 4080 and the 4090. For me personally, the 4070 Ti is great. It's got the dual encoders, and it's the first model in the 4000 series to have the dual encoders when you're editing videos and things like that. Plus, for gaming, it's one of the best models in terms of power efficiency once you undervolt. And here we are now, guys, finally outside of the building, and we are wrapping up the final video for Computex 2024. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one, as well as our other coverage on other things that we did over the course of a week on this event. Now, do let us know in the comments section below what was your favorite ITX product featured in today's video. I did get a lot of business cards with especially a lot of the unknown brands that I've never heard of before, so I can exchange details if you guys want to know more information, especially with Geeek. I'm definitely going to be contacting them. I want to try out one of their cases. I just thought that was really impressive. That was my favorite coming out of today's whole event. And also Gigabyte with those products, that was impressive. They got the ITX board ready to go for next generation, and that GPU also ready to go. And one final thing too, guys, I forgot to mention my friend Geeek is in a video. He's got his own custom case, the King 95. I think it's the Mega, and he's done a collab with Montech, so he's made his own case, and it looks really sweet. Anyhow, with all that aside, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you in another tech video when I jet on out of here back to Japan. With that aside, I'll see you next time. Peace out for now. Bye.